Good evening and welcome back to the Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where last time I thought I had reconstructed all of my railways in a way that would make the signalling systems work, but tested them before filling the whole system with water and found, as I recall, that one of the minecart based flip-flops didn't work properly. So now I'm going to have to work out why. And actually first which, because of course I've forgotten which one it was. So I will have to remember what's going on here. Oh yes, we have a bunch of water there because one of the minecarts that we deployed for this system turned out to already be full of water. So let's attempt some diagnostics. Temporarily, we probably want to. Yeah, so those are disabled because they're set to when full and nothing is filling them. And indeed, it's impossible to fill those minecarts because they're sitting on track stops that are configured to empty them. So if you put an object in the minecart, it will immediately fall out again. So that means I can make sure that all of the track circuits are in the correct state. And then set the minecarts going again and work out what breaks. That one is disengaged, so that signal is at green. That signal is at green. Have I already done that then? That signal is green. That signal is red. So S5 is red. That's the one that's being controlled by this. So the question is, and it currently has a platinum minecart on it, which means it shows as occupied, which is correct, of course, because there is a minecart there. But let's just try operating the... And so similarly, N5 is similarly active, which is similarly the correct state because the section N5 includes the track stop, which has a minecart on it. So let's just try... So those are the old N5. So if we operate N5 empty twice and S5 empty twice as well, that should flip both of those flip-flops to having the wooden minecart on the pressure plate, which should then release the pressure plate. So let us watch what happens. So the current situation is both of those minecarts are, yes, in the correct state for the state of their roller, for the state of their things. So you flip that. So that's the S5 empty. So that should start that roller and push those minecarts eastwards. But it doesn't. Right. Okay. The gear assembly is running. The rollers are running. Oh no, now they've gone. They've moved. Right. Good. Maybe I was just being impatient. And now that has released. And S5 signal is therefore disengaged. Good. Now, admittedly, we seem to have got distracted before operating the lever the second time. But that does actually look like that flip-flop changed state correctly then. So the flip-flop is broadly functional. Now we're going to operate, what? The wrong lever. That wasn't the lever. I needed to empty the section, not fill it. Well, we can demonstrate that turned on the correct roller at least, but... eh. Right, once this one's been operated a second time, then I'll flip the correct lever on the north flip-flop. Actually, while we're here, let's now try putting S5 back again, because obviously the truth is that there's a minecart in the way. So yeah, there is a bit of a problem that the two pull lever actions end up assigned to different dwarves rather too often. Right, so now let's actually ask to empty N5, which is what we wanted. Right, that worked correctly. We can see that N5 is now empty. Actually, we could schedule both of the pullings of that one, and all being well, everything will happen in the right order. Right, good. The child who is having a strange mood has begun a mysterious construction, so there's no danger of that child going insane. Don't seem to be too badly full of miasma. We are suffering from all these levers are too far from anywhere where there are dwarves hanging around. Maybe I should just set up a small meeting area around here. Right, temporary meeting hall. Just to encourage dwarves to hang around up here. Goodness, the forgotten beast Mutt has come. A towering quadruped composed of solid salt. It has a pair of squat antennae and it has a bloated body. Beware its poisonous gas.
Oh dear.
At least it's mutable.
Yes, apparently so. Yes, it is probably also soluble. It's also somewhere quite weird. Oh, right, it's in this tiny little hole at the bottom of this. So I think the water leaks out of that way. Right, yes. Yes, down here. We can't really see that bit of the caverns very well. Since it's quite a long way down. Yeah, I suspect it would turn out that if you were actually to like hit this thing with a warhammer a few times, it would fall apart. Still, relieved being near to a waterfall, despite the danger of dissolution. Yes, well, hello, yet another forgotten beast. We're currently just collecting them down there.
Do they attack each other?
I don't know.
I mean, should they happen to get
They certainly seem to attack. Right, so they certainly seem to attack the other wildlife down there. So we're now in the situation where we can see what happens when you enable both inputs to a minecart-based flip-flop, which is that it becomes astable and the minecarts start oscillating. So they seem to be like weirdly spending most of their time stuck at one end. I think they maybe oscillating rather fast compared to how fast they flash. If we pause and then single step. Oh, excuse me. They don't seem to be moving even when I do it at single step. I'm slightly concerned by what these minecarts are doing. I'm also, I will admit, slightly concerned by the way that they appear to have not have a pixel down the right hand side, which I thought they would. I will have to investigate that. Actually, maybe that character isn't the character. Yeah, I think that's not the character I expect it to be. Right, so has that settled in the right state? No, it hasn't. Curses. The levers got pulled in the wrong order at the end, I think. I hope. So the current situation seems to be that operating these flip-flops with levers does work correctly. Also, that people don't seem to find this meeting area very tempting. Come on, someone come and flip the last lever, and then we can send the minecarts off again and check what doesn't work. So we've demonstrated that everything downstream of the everything from the levers to the signals works correctly. I think we may have our answer. We have a fight between two forgotten beasts.
How dare you forget me? No, you forgot me. It's a bit unfortunate that
They're both just described as the forgotten beast.
Which one? They've got names, haven't they?
Yes, but it always just uses the description in these reports. I think I think we. Oh, no, we can't. It colours things, colours combat reports. I think relative to whether they are good or bad for the fortress, but this is considered neutral. As in, if one of our people is fighting someone else, it will use one colour for events that are us attacking them, and a different colour for them attacking us. I suspect that the one that's getting fractured is the salt one, and
One of them got hit in the shell, which
is presumably one with the shell, and the one that can get bruised is probably not made of salt. A creature of solid salt definitely doesn't have guts.
the orange messages have a name.
Oh yeah, the substance has a name. So yes, Mut with its poisonous breath is possibly poisoning some forgotten beasts or another forgotten beast, unless the forgotten beast is poison resistant, which I think it probably is.
It's made of salt, it seems quite likely.
No, I think the salt one is the one that has poison.
Yes.
Okay, snooze.
The huge beakless pigeon with a shell is the other one.
Yes.
Snooze. I am very snoozy. I'm about to go to bed, but I have run out of everything after this week.
Yes, the huge beakless pigeon is inexhaustible, basically unbreakable, and very strong, but
Basically unbreakable, but did just get its shell fractured.
but is in many respects bruised, battered, and indeed mangled beyond recognition, and covered in tiny scars, probably as a result of fighting the wildlife. On the other hand, this one has lost 2 feet. And is smashed open in various places. And has apparently lost the ability to see, though I didn't actually check whether it had that before. Given that it's made entirely of salt, it might not. You can see bursts of... oh, that looks like... Mutt has been killed. The Forgotten Beast, made entirely of salt, has been defeated by one of our other Forgotten Beasts. And has left behind Mutt's mangled salt.
Is the other Forgotten Beast still safely nibbling about in the caverns and not a problem, or do you have
Yes, yeah, they well, I appear to have mislaid it. I think that might be an airborne right foot. Yes, the huge beakless pigeon with the shell has wandered out of our sight because the entire fight was taking place right on the edge of what we can see.
You said the entire fight. Maybe 3/4 of it already happened before it began.
Yes, indeed.
Claire has sent their state.
Right, so now let's re-enable the dwarf washers and try to watch them trundling and confirm what needs repairing.
If you wonder if I've got to find a better phrase to write on these answers than justify your orientation. It's what I want to ask. Sounds like a complex bone. It's true.
Where did that water come from? Hmm. I think someone is choosing to hang around with the levers. Thank you. Come along, someone push one of these mine carts. But while we're waiting, let's dispose of some Monera bits. I suppose if I'm going to say while we're waiting, I should unpause while disposing of Monera bits. But I can't quite see the pile of bits of Monera and the... that is not needed, it's a leg. So is that. Probably need to go mining more gems. Kib Sanrebaban, dwarven child, has created Sikelfulut Untek Elbel, a siltstone mug. She offers it to the Treaty of Caves. She's made mug. An artifact mug.
I mean, offer it 32K. 32K say could be there for Keskalokil. What's 32K?
It's the government of our fortress. This is a siltstone mug. All craft straw ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushioned limonite cabochons, decorated with beak dog bone and encircled with bands of cushioned siltstone cabochons. The object is adorned with hanging rings of chrysoprase and menaces with spikes of siltstone, beak dog bone and magnetite.
Yeah, well, I imagine Christopher's troll is not very pleased about it being used.
On the item is an image of 4 red-winged blackbird men in siltstone. On the item is an image of the sullen rack, the iron shield in beak dog bone. On the item is an image of Hoodrabble, the arm of renown, the siltstone mug. Well done. In Billen.
Another siltstone mug.
No, I think it might be the same siltstone mug named in English rather than Dwarvish.
I must admit, I passed that as Hoodrabble.
Yes, Hoodrabble, the arm of renown, is this siltstone mug itself. So it has a picture of itself on itself.
Same thing, it's not the same substance it's actually made of.
Yes.
That's very self-referential. Good Newt. Enjoy your bizarre dwarves.
Well, I'm sure the goblins will be along to insist that it's theirs shortly. We've already bought all the cheese from this trade caravan, haven't we? Yes. Come on, someone come on, push these mine carts. I'm getting bored. They are ready to be pushed. Someone has pushed a minecart. Right. So, it has just set off, and it should basically find every signal green. So it has already departed and crossed that, which ought to mark this as red, and that looks like that's as empty rather, and that looks like that's going to happen. Hang on, what? All right. No, this is clearing S1, isn't it? Because it's approaching S2, so it should be marking that as empty. And indeed, or rather, no. Get this right. Think carefully, Harris. It's just triggered S1 detect. That should indeed be marking S5 as empty. And the S5 empty gear assembly is engaged. The minecart is currently oscillating there. So what's going on here, and why is that not moving? Right, the rollers are active, and we did find that the rollers push the minecart in the correct direction. That one is disengaged, So those rollers are not active. And currently it is also showing as S1, which is the section it's in, is full, which is correct, and is currently still filling, which is why it's stuck in approach control. Why is that roller not working? That one's definitely disengaged, as it should be. That one's now disengaged. All right, yes, and that has disengaged because we've passed. So this is weird. It looks as though this flip-flop doesn't work properly when activated by that pressure plate. We should experiment with that. Meanwhile, S1 state has correctly closed that door, opened that door in that order, and so will be showing as empty very shortly, at which point S1 signal, which is currently engaged, active, will become inactive. But that will take a little while because this pressure plate here has to become inactive first. So now there will be a problem that S2 will get stuck full because we don't have enough water to slow this minecart down. That's expected. And similarly, S3 on the other hand has approach control, so should not have a problem. Right, meanwhile, the north minecart has set off. It has not yet triggered the thing to mark N5 as empty. Meanwhile, these minecarts have managed to end up in an impossible situation. It shouldn't be possible for them to end up separated. Right, I think we have a serious problem with those minecarts not working right. I'm slightly considering whether we should just upgrade or try a different design of flip-flop there. We could try the Newton's cradle flip-flop instead, if this one is unreliable. So anyway, that minecart has now triggered that pressure plate, which means that now the N5 empty is active. It will now sit in approach control, waiting for something to happen. But again, this minecart doesn't seem to be moving. Another possibility is that we could try I didn't use precisely the example minecart weights from the wiki. The minecart went for iron and copper, and I went for wood and platinum. Maybe the weight difference between those is so big that you can't actually use a wooden minecart to push a platinum minecart. That might explain it. Maybe we need to go for making like a minecart that is in between. Well, we'll try making some iron and copper ones and seeing how heavy they come out. The approach control system seems to work right, though. So that one does seem to have cleared eventually.
Can't make a minecart with platinum. If it hit any dwarves, it would flatten them.
Right, so, yes, so
I'll stop there.
I don't trust these flip-flops. I mean, they have both then reset to occupied, but which means they must have cleared, I suppose, because otherwise the minecart would probably have ended up stuck at that signal. So let's pause the minecarts and let them have. We'll have another run once we've fixed the things that are known not to work, namely the various sections that are slightly too short at the moment. So N2 and N4 and S2 and S4 all need to be emptied. And then yes, so I think I'll let them run again then and watch carefully whether one possible mistake is that maybe these don't actually correctly operate their signals. So we need to check that. I mean, I suppose actually there's no danger in letting the minecarts go, even if some of the signals are in the wrong state at the moment. No, let's do it carefully. Plus, like, we won't take very long to operate these levers. I think a child is getting into fights with people. Maybe. Or maybe someone is... Why are the doctors fighting?
Making work for each other?
It's possible, yes.
That's why I was having four fight, but actually not. They were going to be, unless it's inflatable, mission debatable. Anyway.
I think possibly we have slightly too many unhappy dwarves. I'm slightly tempted to start just like expelling all of our unhappy dwarves because we've got too many anyway. But it does feel a bit like cheating. Plus also apparently there are Oh yes, there's a dead cat that needs to be disposed of, and a dead duck. Yes, that leg belonged to a duck, so can be disposed of as well. Oh, and a dead dog. So I think everyone may be busy fighting one another at the moment. And then presumably dragging one another back to the hospital for repairs. It's another dead dog. Signalling system still hasn't been reset. Do seem to be an awful lot of people getting into fights here. I don't like it. That's not nice. I mean, he seemed to be doing okay there, and then suddenly, oh no, he's dead. On which subject? How are we doing for burial places? Not very. Okay, we can't quite get up to the edge of the map. Are we still trying to make adequate quantities of additional doors? Yes, good. Well, I think Thomas Catton was one of our less happy children. And mostly it looks like the child was just punching the... oh, right, he got into a fight with another child. All right, and someone punched the child so hard that their neck was broken. Oops. Was pleased by Sodel Domus Catton was pleased to have adopted a new cat, and then died. A new pet, and then died. Oh dear. So Justin asks, are you going to leave a gap at the end of the catacomb so they can loop round? Actually, my plan is just to dig another southward tunnel from here. Rather than to send people, make the corridor even longer. Right, I think all of the track circuits are now showing clear. Oh no, N2 is still occupied. Yes, no one has actually come to pull the levers for N2. Sigh. Well, this will be improving the frame rate eventually. No, I mean we have rather a lot of unhappiness. So it's possible that it's simply that people are getting into fights because they're unhappy.
I suppose it's possible that there's some kind of, I don't know, vampirism or something that's making someone attack people for a more specific sinister reason.
And we did get a message about one child throwing a tantrum, but like this does seem to be quite a lot broader than that.
One dwarf is a tantrum, 100 dwarves is a riot. This is somewhere in between.
Yes. Wonder if we've like... Wonder if we're like suffering from... I'm kind of thinking, is this the Forgotten Beast extract turns out to be terrifyingly having like weird effects on people's personalities, and it's managed to get up here through the in the air or something. I think that's just blood. Or she felt regretful after throwing something. Oh, right, yes, I think she threw a bag of hazelnuts at a bookkeeper. Right, yes, I think Godin Storlutnish may have been one of the early, may have been the one who was having a tantrum, given we had have the line here, Godin Storlutnish has calmed down. But at that point she was in a fight, and well,
You've got to carry on defending yourself. Yeah.
yes. Hope we've got enough thread for all these sutures. King needs royal throne room if he survives. Oh, probably okay. Diagnosed with inebriation. I mean, I think there may be other problems. Yes, neck needs cleaning and suturing, but major problem, Your Majesty, is you're drunk. It looks like someone maybe managed to get into a fight in the hospital, which is just inconvenient. Plus, we appear to have run out of beds in the hospital again, which indicates we need more capacity. Have we got any beds spare? What? Oh, yes. Well, that gives us a few more. Let me add an additional operating table as well. Yes, good. At least that one was only a dog, so that means I need to actually put some effort into making sure they get disposed of. Can someone pull that lever again, please? I think things may have calmed down now. Yeah, all the remaining messages now seem to be about people recovering from the fight rather than actually engaging in it. Right, meanwhile, the minecart track has been reset. So, what is it I want to check? I want to check whether those flip-flops did actually correctly set and then clear. Or rather, clear and then set. And in particular, whether they'd correctly handled these signals. So, at the moment, that signal and that signal are engaged. So nothing can go past there and nothing can go past there. Lower spine needs surgery. Well, you might be all right. Admittedly, someone has swiped your bed while you've been on the operating table. But we've brought in some new beds, so that's all right. Slightly concerned by the way the doctors appear to be sleeping here in the... Oh, right, no, you're not. You've been brought into the hospital to rest, but we didn't have a bed for you. Yes, okay, that's perfectly normal. I mean, yes, you're probably a doctor, but it's fine for you to be passed out on the operating theatre floor if the reason why you're there is because you're unwell. Well, obviously we would prefer it if you were passed out in a bed, but it doesn't mean the surgeons are sleeping on the floor of the hospital because they're so worn out they can't get back to their bedrooms. Right, so the minecarts are moving again. And that one has properly disengaged, which is what we expect by now. And that one's properly disengaged. Yes, I think this minecart arrangement doesn't quite work right, but it works well enough in that we do manage to move the platinum minecart off its pressure plate. And that looks like it's reasonably reliable. Okay, I think I'm now feeling confident enough that we can refill the dwarf washer. So let's, again, stop people sending minecarts everywhere, because we know that it all goes wrong if the minecarts move while the water's moving. and then operate the pool pumps. And we want to keep the water level low. We want it to be 4, but we don't want it. We want it to be 4 or 5, and we don't want it to hit 6. Oh, there's a dead dog. Let's send that dead dog to the rubbish. Also mark a few more tombs. So I think we have happily buried everyone who needed burying. Okay, no, there is actually a dead child there who still needs burying. But they do have somewhere to be buried now, so like that should happen. Right, we can see that the dwarf water is filling up because the sea level is going weird. Seems to be being weirdly inefficient at filling up at the moment. Oh, have we closed? Yes, we have turned off the drain, haven't we? No, maybe we should like close the pool drain. It will probably feel better if we don't try to simultaneously drain it. That would explain why we're happily pulling water up out of the sea, but it doesn't seem to be doing much good. It's all ending up down here, pouring into the caverns. It's quite a long way down to the actual water in the caverns, mind. I think the water hasn't quite, the new batch of water hasn't quite landed. I think it'll get a bit deeper here when it does. Still. Okay, yes, thank you for naming your spear. I'm sure it's a very nice spear. What's that? It's a stray cat. Well, we hope that the stray cat will notice that the water level's rising and get out of there. I mean, to be fair, we're not planning on flooding the place to the point where the cat shouldn't be able to get out. But it will be quite wet now that we've got the drain closed. So if you stay near that slope, you will at some point soon realise this is not where you want to be, yes. Wet cat has got out of the water. Good. Right, and we're no longer dumping water down into the caverns, and are instead actually filling this thing up. So, another thing I kind of want to do is to sort out a mechanism for draining the river. The East River. The West River's not such a problem. So that we can get stuff out of it and maybe rescue dwarves more efficiently. So I think for that, what I want actually is to let my miners enlarge the catacombs, but they don't seem to be being very enthusiastic about that. But if we accidentally lost all our miners, no, we've still got plenty of people scheduled for mining. If only they would do it. Maybe I should tell them, for now, don't do anything other than mining. Is there a button for that? Is that no? That's a doctor in the hospital. Yes, not that's a post rather than a labour. That's where we. Sure, there was some way of saying, and only do this. I can't find it right now. Oh well. Let's just check how we're doing for like medical supplies. Yeah, okay, that's looking all right. Right, sorry, things are now a bit quiet. Actually, no, yes. Where are my miners? Miners, come and help do some mining. Are you all getting distracted by mending people in the hospital? Actually, possibly I should appoint more people as doctors in the hospital because we do have an awful lot of doctoring to do there. It'd be slightly nice if I could do this through. Got 6 diagnosticians. Let's go up to 6 surgeons. Yeah, slightly more than 6 now. We could do with many more bone doctors. We could do with a user interface that is not so terrible. That might help a bit. So given we have this hospital, we should obviously see what happens if you say everyone can visit the hospital. Will we start getting randoms from outside coming in with their injuries? So what's the task list looking like? Are there... decent number of people like actually engaging in, there's a lot of tasks for dressing wounds and cleaning patients and suturing, but I wonder if we actually need to increase the number of orderlies we've got. We have plenty of legendary suturers, though maybe we should try not to overlap them with the doctors, now I come to think of it. As in, they actually doing things. Oh, it's that button, isn't it? Yes, I remember now. Right, there we go. Yes, it's like the Secrets of Life and Death, the end user license agreements for being a dwarf. There was a thing. Oh yes, I was going to switch the labours for my miners because I found that button which says just mine, don't do anything else. I mean, we do have a problem that two of them are also marked as doctors, but we'll see how that goes. Oops, am I sitting on a cable? No, I'm standing on a cable. Well, not standing, I have my foot on a cable.
Demonstrating precisely.
Yes, the water in Dwarf Fortress is a bit syrupy. We could probably arrange like a more complicated system of plumbing to get to not inject all the water at one end of the dwarf washer. Still no mining going on, even though the miners aren't allowed to do anything else. All right, I think so. A couple of dwarves have been imprisoned for rioting. We should probably have a small booze stockpile in the prison, shouldn't we? Let's just paint it all the way along that edge, actually. That way they won't have to have someone come and bring them water. They can actually drink something nice. And we could probably also provide food as well. Right. At least some of our injured dwarves have got out of the hospital. Yep. Cleaned up. Vaguely mended. And moving again. Good. However, the tertiary booze stockpile still has plenty of space in it, at least. Right, that's close to being adequately full. Let's turn off the pumps and let it all settle down.
So you have to schedule pulling the lever when it's close to being full, because it will take some while to actually pull the lever.
Yeah, like we're at water level 4 somewhere in the middle, which arguably means that the mean water level is 4, though it probably doesn't.
The median water level is 4.
So something like that. Yes. Given that there's a fairly constant gradient, I mean a fairly consistent gradient, as in it's monotonic roughly from this end to that end. Like it might be slightly too empty and we need to put a bit more in, but I think it's going to be easier to add a little bit of water than to take a little bit out. I think if we open the drains, we'll find it drains quite rapidly. The hospital is still kind of busy. The miners are still not doing any mining. Right, we no longer have any squares. Thank you. Yes, you've named your shield. No longer have any squares at depth 7 in there. I wonder if there's a sensible way I can group together the people who are actually scheduled to do mining in the list so I can see what they're playing at. Right. I think the 2s have vanished before the 6s, so that gives me confidence that the mean water level is going to come out at just over 4 rather than just under 4. But it's going to be very close. I think the speeds of the rollers will work fine at precisely 4. We obviously don't want any 3 left when we send people down there because no one can learn to swim in depth 3 water. There's like actual space in the hospital now, that's nice. Let's just have another check that it's not running out of materials. Yes, that should be fine. Now, someone should resize that temple or whatever it is now. The Temple of Dying, because like we've moved the walls. There. And made some of them porcelain, which will have increased the value of the temple a bit. Good night, Steph. Right, so are we going to run out of 3s before we run out of 5s? I'm a bit worried. I mean, we can just pull the lever twice in rapid succession and that will put in a little squirt of extra water. So I suppose what happens is that the 5s and the 3s run around until a 5 and a 3 meet up, at which point they turn into a pair of 4s. Like electrons and holes. Very much not like electrons and positrons. I mean, the 3s cover more of the, kind of have larger territory, but I think there aren't actually that many more of them. So I suppose I would have less time to wait if I had arranged to be slightly less precisely at 4. Because as it is, we actually need all of the numbers that aren't 4 to sort them, or at least all of the 3s, I hope, to sort themselves out. And they are failing to do so, at least failing to do so with any efficiency. Oh good, someone's finally doing some mining. That will therefore give us a bit more space for installing more coffins in case we need them later. Right, we have very few 3s left. Come on, head rightwards and meet up with some 5s. One of them's been absorbed. 2 3s left. Oh, 1 3 left. Being hunted by the 5s. Go on, you can get absorbed. Yes, right. There are no 3s left and there are still some 5s around. So we have the correct water. Oh no, there's still a 3.
There are enough 5s to surely.
There should be enough 5s to absorb it, yes. It just needs to meet one. Right, now is it gone?
I think so. I think I saw it go clunk.
Right, okay, so now we should be able to launch the minecarts. I'm going to be paranoid and have us push them first. And send them on one trip untenanted. And then if that works, we can start riding them. Possibly we could add a couple more minecarts and ride those. Right. We now have lots more space for putting coffins in. Let's install coffins until we run out. And install doors until we run out. And then let's dig a staircase down somewhere around here. Where do we think we start getting rock in that biome? Yes, it's there. So if we're going to arrange to drain this river off the map, we're going to have to dig down to here and construct the drains in this level. Oh, the hospital is looking a lot calmer now. Someone does seem to be in a traction bench, mind. Oops, no, I don't want to be mining staircases through the traction bench. That would be silly. Yes, in traction. Sadly, an infected wound on their neck. Okay, you have an overlapping finger fracture that requires traction. Ooh, I'm probably going to finish relatively early today. Let's just check that no one else needs traction. I think when we first built that traction bench, oh, you are actually in traction despite not being in a traction bench. Or are those, no, those are the spare traction benches, aren't they? Because when we built the first traction bench, every dwarf who needed traction got stuck in the same traction bench, which was kind of weird. Okay, you're fine, you don't need a traction bench. So all 3 of our traction benches are in use. Right, there's a minecart experiencing the approach locking system. Hopefully it will depart soon. Once the input signal releases. Come on. This bit I was pretty confident worked.
That's why it's the bit that's failed. Everything else you took more care of.
No, like I tested it.
Oh, the kiss of death.
At least there aren't dwarves stuck in those minecarts unable to get any food. So as soon as N1 detect released, that suggests that there's, maybe it's not the maybe N2 is still showing full. So N2 signal is shown as active, right, yes. N2 approach control is inactive. So what's going on with N2 then? Yes, N2 is showing as occupied, right. So the problem is that N2 is incorrectly showing occupied, as is S2. Well, let's manually reset those then. I mark them both as hugely high priority, right. Oh, they both get someone assigned to them, that's good. I mean, unless they actually happen simultaneously.
Oh, you mean the kind of high priority that means actually do it?
Yes. Apparently so.
That tube actually fits in this rucksack. That's very cool.
Right, well that released one of the signals, so that's good.
Good night.
Right. Okay, why have you got stuck there then? Because S4 is showing occupied. N2 is showing occupied again, that's weird. As is N3. That suggests that my timings are wrong. I mean, this will be an excellent way to train dwarves to swim if they're in these minecarts, because they could be stuck there for quite some time. Right, let's turn off the minecarts again. As in, say, don't launch them when they come home. And then, so that one is stuck at signal S4, which is showing occupied when it shouldn't. Doesn't really matter what order these pull lever actions happen in, so that should be good enough. And that one appears to be stuck at signal N2, which again is showing occupied when it shouldn't. I think, yes, clearing a signal with levers can often not leave it in a good state. So the south minecart is now out of the system, and so it is in section S5, and so all of the other S's should be showing clear. S2 is currently showing occupied, so let's get S2 emptied. Dear, we don't need another tantrum. Ooh. I think I need to go to bed fairly soon. S4 similarly is in the wrong state. So I think I'm going to tidy things up here, but not do another test run. And meanwhile, the N minecart is stuck at signal N3. Right, so all of those, apart from S5, which is not even in use, are showing as unoccupied. That's good. The S ones, S signals. Yeah, just fight with the cat. It's much less dangerous than fighting with doctors. Going on with N3? Is someone working on N3? Huh. N3 is empty. We just need to wait for things to clear. Yes, there we go. There we got a brief moment of approach locking working correctly. Right, so both minecarts are now back home. Let's wait 100 ticks for the to make sure that all of the doors have closed, and then check the N states. N1 is good, N2 is good, N3 is good, N4 is good, and N5 is good. Right, so the in that run, the second half of that run, that minecart did reset everything correctly. So I think it's possible that things are working now, but we will come back on Sunday and check. Until then, I will say good night. Good night.